Good morning, dear family. Rise and shine, and today I'll be sharing my thoughts on Snowpiercer episode 203, A Great Odyssey. Fortunately, in my opinion, there wasn't really that much bad to say about this episode. Well, nothing was really bad at all, in fact. Whatever was bad, quote-unquote, was just really mediocre, in my opinion. But I'll get down to the good stuff first. First off, the train scenes, like all the other episodes, were just gorgeous in the highest degree in this one. Just the amount of detail on the new CGI is just great, and seeing Snowpiercer and Big Alice go across something that's a bit more exciting than straight or curved stretch of track was just great to watch. One example in particular, of course, any of you who watched the episode would know that they're headed up the Rocky Mountains, and the CGI itself on that was just fantastic. I was almost afraid that it was going to be too fantastical, but it wasn't. It was just great, and they didn't go overboard with it, so that's good. Perhaps one of my favorite parts of this entire episode was the fact that Alex is finally opening up to Melanie. Sure, she hasn't gotten to the point where she can call Mel her mother again, but she's actually showing character growth now, and she's not as hard-lined into Wilford's antics and emotional manipulation anymore. I'm still worried that Alex will just be used as Wilford's downfall, but they might be on track to just work in a way that she can just be a part of it and not just be solely a part of it, or be solely the main factor that leads to Wilford's downfall, because that would just be a rather cliche kind of thing to do. As far as Mr. Wilford goes, he's becoming less and less of a random and wonky character, not that that was a bad thing in my opinion, and he's just now becoming more of a serious and foreboding character, especially when Layton shows that he's growing as a leader. On another topic, in the last episode I discussed my distaste, my disliking for Josie still being alive, and I still hold that opinion. However, I do like that Josie doesn't radically hate Melanie for what she did to her, as one might expect, and as I would have expected from her. Instead, she's on the side of Layton, at least to some degree, and that's what she's saying, and that she believes in recolonizing Earth more than she does revenge. I was rather disappointed by there not being any LJ or Osweiler scenes in this episode, but I was already suspecting that they were cramming too much story into singular episodes, so my expectations weren't really ruined at all. But, on the topic of the underground, for lack of a better word, the black market, I'm beginning to think that my theory of Layton becoming the authoritarian system he overthrew is honestly true. At this rate, the allegory is definitely not coincidental. First, they feed the late Kevin food to make him talk, just as Roche and the Brakemen did to make Layton talk less than a revolution ago, and now Layton is taking control of Pike and Terrence's drug trade in order to gain more control over Snowpiercer. This wouldn't be too bad if it were for the fact that Layton said that authoritarian states usually have control of their own drug cartels, so it's clear he has a negative opinion on this topic, at least until he's the one in control after postponing democracy and instating martial law. All in all, I think it was a very good episode in my opinion. It's better than the last two. The second one was pretty good and the first one was rocky, but this one is probably the best so far. It's packed with character growth like Josie, Layton, and Alexandra, and teased mysterious topics concerning Roche and Pastor Logan's relationship and what might actually be going on with Miss Audrey. And of course, my favorite of all is Ruth. She may have been a little weird in the second episode, but it seems like she's back on track to be a reasonable, if not likable, human being in this episode. But what do you think? Do you think that the episode was any good at all, or do you just think it's bad? I don't know how you do think it's bad, but that's the idea. Tell me what you didn't like if you didn't like it. My theory, and do you think that my theory on Layton's gradual corruption might be right? I mean, it feels like it's pretty obvious, but you never know. Whatever you have to say, just comment it down below. I'll be sure to be reading it, and be sure to subscribe if you're interested in more future Snowpiercer content. Either way, I hope this episode lived up to your expectations, whether good or bad, and that we